Hey team, so second video of the day. Today we're gonna look at the 5 mistakes I made when starting my first business. I put it down as first because I'm planning to start more, planning to buy more, grow more. There's a ton. So this is the first one. This is Burlington pressure washing. Now before we get into it, please like the video and please subscribe to the channel. It'd be a huge help to me. It would mean the world. So going into this, there are a lot of mistakes a business can make when starting out. And we're going to be starting from when I didn't even have the LLC, like when starting, like even just the idea of the business that I made mistakes on. So some of the common ones can be that you'll hear is growing too quickly, not growing fast enough, not having your finances down, not doing market research, you don't have your value proposition down. There's a lot of things that you can mess up on. There's a lot of little and big mistakes that you can screw up on really bad. And so the good thing with me is that I have a mentor, and I strongly recommend you getting a mentor. One is my father, and one I pay for through a coaching, a sales company called ETA, and his name is Justin Shoemaker. Awesome dude, lives out in Virginia. He's great and has taught me how to build this so it would be bulletproof. Now, no one's perfect, and there are still mistakes that I made, but I was able to get through a couple of the more common ones. So this is more specific to me. And some of these mistakes were even before I met Justin. So the first one we're going to go into is the biggest one and the most common one that I see with people of my age that I see in college. I currently go to UVM, I'm a business student, but I see a lot of people that are waiting for the right time. Now, I understand this. I waited for a really long time to start mine. I knew I wanted to start a business about 2.5 years ago. That's insane. Do you know how much money I would have if I just put my foot down and did it? Now, of course, it's way easier to say than, actually do it. But the problem is we're going to go into this is I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted to know everything. I want to know, where do I even start? How do I get my first client? How do I do this? What's my business? Where's it going to go? And a lot of the problem is I didn't even know, what to sell, which we're going to go into later. But that was the biggest mistake is there was so much that went through my head that I was like, this is insane. How am I going to pick something? And so I was like, okay, I'm going to wait for the right time. I'm going to wait for the beginning of summer when I have nothing to do my whole calendar to build my business. That's what I'm going to do. And I'll just forget about it until summer. So I did this, and I would get to summer, and I was like, oh, I need money to do this. So I picked up a job in the summer instead of doing it in the school year or doing it while I was building the business. And then the next summer I worked at The Edge. I worked there for 7 months, and I worked there the whole summer. It was supposed to simply just be to help me get my membership cheaper. I worked front desk at a gym, and I was like, I'll do that and then I'll work on business. And I didn't do it because I was just like, oh, I need to talk to my dad. It's like my dad is the CEO of a business. So I was like, he can help me. He can help me build this. The problem is that I can't, as much as I love my dad and he's been in my life my whole time, I'm very lucky for that. I can't rely on him to sit down with me for 3 hours a day, 5 hours, 6 hours, however much I need to be like, this is how you do it, this is how you do it, this is how you do it, and give me the blueprint, okay? I have to build my own blueprint. You gotta just screw up and just start. That's more important. And so up until November, going to more of a story time, I was scrolling on Instagram, back when I did that crap, and I clicked on an ad for a book from Andy Elliott, and it was Automotive Industry, How to Sell, his first sales book. And I clicked on it, I was like, oh, I don't do automotive, I don't want this. Clicked off of it, salesman calls me, who was Justin, he's like, hey dude, yada, yada, yada. It was the first time I could tell I was being sold, but I loved it, because I could tell this guy was gonna help me. This guy was my ticket out of this crap of me just working for $13 an hour and building something, and he helped me just start, and it was that simple. He was like, okay, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go through this week, and by the end of the week, you're gonna tell me what you wanna build your business on. Okay, do an hour a day of just research, look up top 20 easiest business to start. We'll start there, and it'll help you branch out and see what you wanna do. I was like, okay. I had never done that before because I was so overwhelmed with everything. So the first thing to do is understand there is no right time to start. This is the biggest one because this cost me 2.5 years that I could have done already. There is no perfect time to start. You have to just do it, okay? Starting could be as simple as you doing 2 hours of research to find out what you want to do. I promise you, if you actually sat down for 2 hours instead of procrastinating and try to like imagine the perfect idea, you will find something, because that's what I did. And it took me forever before I just went on a YouTube video and was like, pressure washing makes a lot of money. Why don't I just do that? And I was like, and then another common mistake people make is they don't do the market research. I was like, I'm just going to call the pressure washers and see like, what they charge. Not a single one of them picked up their phone here. And I was like, I've got a market. Got it. Okay. Next one, money. The rest of these will be a little bit quicker, but thinking I needed money to start a business. Now, don't get me wrong, you're going to need something. Window cleaning business, I chose pressure washing to start out of, which is a little more expensive, but I eventually broke into window cleaning. If I started with window cleaning, just to get like top of the line equipment, a good foot squeegee and a good 6-inch squeegee, I could have done all of this for $100. $100. You want to be super safe, you buy an LLC, it's $150 more. $250, you're licensed with the state, and you have equipment. Go do a $500 job, you make it all back. I saved a whole summer. I worked 50 hours a week and made, I think, $7,000 or something, which the math might be wrong there, but I worked an entire summer and made like $7,000, and I worked about 50 hours a week for minimum wage, and it sucked. And so I was like, okay, I have this money now. Now I can buy everything I need. Buy everything I need at once. And then I looked at it, I was talking to some of my business friends, like, why would you do that? Why would you spend all that once? Spend like $500 and just go from there and then keep adding on as you go. And it's like, crap, I could have started in the summer. I could have started last summer. What do I sell? We already kind of talked about this, but I always was like, I need to sell something that I like. Let me tell you right now. Yes, I like pressure washing. Yes, I like window cleaning because I like helping the community. I know I'm selling something that's beneficial to people. But once you do it, it becomes your work. This is not something that I'm loving the window clean. I'm loving the pressure washing. I love business. That's what I love. That's what I'm passionate about. I love sales. That's what I'm passionate about. But whatever you do is going to become work. So maybe don't choose your most passionate thing. Again, look online. I was thinking about starting a vending machine business. That's pretty low entry. I mean, like, it's not as low entry as window cleaning. You'll still need like probably around $4,000, $5,000, which is a lot of money. But it's not like $10,000, $20,000, $100,000. Okay, that's a great place to start. You could even start with $100. You get one of those like little candy machines. You go put them. You call schools or you call grocery stores. You're like, can I put those candy machines in there? You can make like $100. I forget how much it is, but you can make like maybe a couple $100 a month. Just from those little quarter machines where they get gumballs out of, and you've expanded the vending machines. That's a thing. Or you sell food on campus, because everyone complains about there not being food on campus. So maybe out of your dorm room you sell chips and candy. That was a business idea one of my teachers thought of, and I was like, holy crap, he just made that in like 30 minutes. Why haven't I started yet? So understand, whatever you do is going to become your work. Okay? So it doesn't have to be something you love right off the way, because you're going to have to. Like, obviously, don't do something you hate. But if you're like, this would be cool, do it. Because either way, it's going to become work. Next is knowledge with no action. I kind of erased it, equals potential. If you don't do something, if you keep learning like I did, I just kept consuming. I did hours of market research. I did hours on how much does everyone charge? Where is everyone? Where would be the perfect place to open a store? Back when I thought I would have to open a store for a pressure washing company. Where do I, and I just did all this market research. I was, learning everything, and I was and I took no action. I just consumed, and I consumed, and I consumed. And I heard this quote, I forget from who, but it's in the book I'm currently reading by, you guessed it, Andy Elliott, and it's, knowledge with no action is just potential. You have so much potential, but it doesn't mean anything if you take no action. So a lot of this comes down to just take action. Because I can promise you, my day-to-day life now is so much easier than when I started. All I have to do is sell people. Sounds hard, but it's like they call me now and I'm like, hey, yeah, I'll be there at 9 a.m. That's all I do now. I just call people. I don't have to buy an LLC or do all this other crap I had to do in the beginning. Starting is the hardest part. And so that's why I'm just saying start now. And then the last thing is pricing. Now, if you've watched my other videos, you know that my first 10 jobs I did for free to get my pricing model down and get some reviews. So I had trust in the community and I could just start getting jobs really quick. It's best piece of advice I ever got from Justin. Helped the business scale immediately. The problem with what I did is that those free jobs were only window cleaning. So when I got to pressure washing, which is where all the money really is, I was like, I don't know how much to charge for pressure washing. And so you know what I did? I went on ChatGPT and I was like, how much do people charge for pressure washing? I was like, okay, I'm going to charge that with no other research. And I would go up to these people, have these amazing 15, 20, I can still remember one of these clients. They had an amazing one-story house. It was huge. Easily would have been a little $500 project. Great first house for me to work on. And I was like, it's going to be $1,200, which, you know, for someone that has more than a week of business experience, that would be correct. And he was like, yeah, well, the truth is I got a quote from another person. At this point, I had no idea how to do objections. So I was like, crap. And he's like, I got another thing. I really like you, but 1,200 is like just a little bit much, especially for someone that's only been doing business for like a week. And I was like, in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, I just lost, for me, what would have been like a $600 job at the time because my ego got so high. Because I was like, oh, I totally sold this guy talking to him for 20 minutes. And I had no idea what my pricing actually was. I just looked at the house and I was like, thought I was a professional. I was like, yeah, 1,200. Throwing out numbers like I knew what I was doing. And I lost that job. And that job will always replay in my head. Because I was like, I did everything right. And I let my ego take it. Because I was just like, oh, I totally sold this guy. Let me just throw in an extra amount. Because I didn't know what the pricing was. And so eventually I got down to my pricing now is very specific. I have square footage pricing, I have time pricing. I know how much I need to make per hour to be profitable, and I also know how much I'm willing to work for. And at the time, I didn't have this specifically for pressure washing. My window cleaning numbers have always been dialed, especially when I got better equipment because I can charge a little bit less now. Because it takes me getting a water system cut my time in half. That's a whole other thing. But these are some of the most common mistakes you make, and also my 5 biggest mistakes that cost me the most when I was starting. So out of all of these, and you hear everyone in business say it, the hardest part is starting. Just start. And to go further in this, starting can be as simple as watching a YouTube video to determine what you want to sell. That's action. At least you're consuming something. The next thing, you have to take action on it. But if you're just like, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it in the summer when I have some time, there's no perfect time. Okay? There's no perfect time. I started this business in November of my sophomore school year when I was almost, and if you've also followed the channel, you know that I'm taking a gap year, possibly dropping out. But I was doing this when I had like a below 3.0 GPA. And I was like, this is going to work. And I was like missing classes because I was so excited about this business idea. And it was not the perfect time, because there's no perfect time. Because if I started this in the summer and waited, it took me like 6 months to build out the plan for this business, to get it ready so that I could start as soon as the summer started. Because I had no idea anything about business. I come from a business family, but I wanted to be a surgeon, if you didn't even know that. And so I was like, I didn't know anything. And so these are my mistakes that cost me the most. And realistically, it comes down to, my advice for you is just to start. Okay? Thank you so much. I'm all dressed up because I went to church today also, which I don't think I said in the last video, but have a lovely day.